so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're my previous subscribers, welcome back. So for today's video, we're going to be discussing and focusing a lot of our energy on the East Coast Tsunami and the Doomsday Glaciers as well. So quickly before we do begin, if you have not already voted in my community page, go check out my community page. Oops, wrong one. Go to my community page here. This is on your screen right now. The poll that I put out, what videos you want to see. Please do not vote for why people go missing in nature reserve. Me and Katie, our special guest here, are going to cover that in the video probably either today or sometime this week. So it's already gonna happen. So just vote for the other four that you want to see the most. If you want to stay updated on my channel, feel free to join my Facebook group. It's a great way to be with people who have like-minded ideas as you, and also it's a great way to advance your intuition along with aka free reading. So if you like free readings and you don't like paying, this is a great way to take advantage of that. Now, without further ado, I do want to quickly say that this video is being live streamed on oops, what today's date? You remember, Katie? Oh no, you're muted.
Today's date is the 23rd. So
Thank you. So today is what this video being live streamed on March 23rd at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it is the year 2022, whenever you are watching this or wherever you're watching this. So anyway, let's begin. Thank you all of you guys for your kind comments. Today we're going to focus on, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to specifically focus on the climate, particularly as we get closer to Earth Day. I've been told by my spirit guides that I needed to start focusing on other topics other than politics. And they've been telling me that a lot of what's happening in terms of the climate is going to be what's helping us to extend to the next level. A lot of you guys may not be aware that sometimes in order to reach that extension level, it depends per person. Each individual is different and very unique in the way that they go through the ascension process. And I see for some of you guys, some people need to pass away in order for them to extend. Their physical body may be the thing that's weighing them down, whereas others, you might need to be the ones who survive so that you can actually extend yourself along with your physical body and extend together. So for some of you guys, you have different situations. So ask yourself specifically what in particular allows me to extend, and you'll be able to know the answer. Now, this is a little bit disclaimer on your screen as well, in case you want to, you know, excuse me, I just started. This are some quick disclaimers on your screen right now. If you want to pause the video, feel free to read them. This is just to prevent me from getting in trouble by YouTube when covering content such as this. This video, again, is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. And here are some other disclaimers on your screen. You can pause the video and read them at your own time. You do not have to. All right, let's begin. But quickly, before we do begin, I am opening up my live readings again. If you want to do a book reading with me, a personal reading, just check the description below. You can go check that out. We do have a 20% off or a 10% off discount, so definitely take advantage of it. You can book it for however far away you want to do so, but take advantage of the discount. It is open and available. Let's begin. So, let's introduce my very special guest, Katie.
hi, my name's Katie. I'm Chris's friend. We met through a mutual friend, and we were both enlightened and empowered by each other for the past few weeks. And I have enough courage to come today and do a video with you. Thank you so much, Chris, again.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. This video I just realized is actually private, which is why we had no viewers today. I did
Mm,
not realize I did not put it public. So anyway, let's kind of discuss and kind of specifically talk about what it is and the reason why we're doing today's video. Do you feel like you want to share today and go first? Why set the video live so other people can
okay.
come join in?
Okay, so the reason why I believe we should start doing this is to bring more awareness to many people. I believe not just us, but many people around us that are that need to focus more on their dreams. I believe we all are blessed to have dreams. So many people need to be aware about what their dreams are. Hey, can you hear me?
I don't know what just
Hey.
happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, you can keep going.
Okay,
You're doing
so
good.
I really like this topic because I've had multiple dreams about this, and when I finally got to mention it to Chris, he was like, "Oh my God, Katie, this is like a big moment for me because the last time he said that he had the same dream exactly like me was in 2019, right?
Hmm.
Yep.
When
And I was like,
well, it
that was
wasn't a
around the
dream.
time that I had it.
It wasn't necessarily a dream or a vision for me. It was just something that, like like I said, I have dark humor, which is why,
Hmm.
part of being a Scorpio, you have dark humor. So I just said it that I always had an irking for it. So I knew it was coming. It's just like almost like a survival instinct. Like always knew it was coming. It was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
Yes. Okay. No, for me, it was more of a dream. Like it was more of a vivid thing where the
Hmm.
second time that I had the dream, I forced myself to be in that dream and experience what I'm feeling. So I definitely
Right.
felt that dream was special compared to a lot of them that I've had.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Do you mind sharing about why in particular you had this dream, like what the dream was about and any key details that you may remember?
So for me, it was more of me being sunken underwater with the whole city. Like I saw the bridge, I saw cars, I saw so many things underwater. And I saw a bunch of waves going over us. Waves. I was trying to swim to the top, but it was like, no, there's multiple tsunamis to the point you won't ever reach up on top.
Really? And do you know how
Yes,
big this was, or by the time you were in the dream, you were already too submerged in?
I was already too submerged into it.
Okay.
And I had
Do
my
you recognize
sister
any?
on the hip. I had my sister on the hip, and was calling somebody on the phone to come help us. Come help us, come help us. And then that's when a UFO came. And I was looking up and I was like, we come in peace, like just as a joke, you know? And they took me in. Like they were filled with humor, giggles, not
Hmm,
dangerous. You know what I mean? So after that,
interesting.
I woke up instantly.
Really? That's interesting. Do you
Yes.
notice any sort of monuments, like anything that signifies a specific location of where you were in that city when it was submerged in your dream?
Yes. The bridge that was underwater was the Washington Bridge.
Where's the Washington Bridge?
Definitely, I feel like something steel and metal, and the Washington Bridge in NYC, New
It's
York
the
City.
NYC. Is that the one in New York City, right?
Yep,
Wait, didn't I tell you a long time ago that I was reading or I had a feeling that there was something bad going to happen in the city, and that I saw like the city get submerged because it's all its roads and buildings, and nothing. The water can't kind of go into the ground because it's kind of like in a it's basically impenetrable, right? It's
yep,
non-porous, which basically means that the water just stays on the top. And I saw that, like a big hurricane, for example, can come crashing into New York, and all that water could just stay in the New York City and never dissipate and just stay there and become like a swampland.
yep.
But really, it never really
You did
submerged
tell
due
me
to
that.
sea level.
Yep, you did tell me that
So is
though.
that in any way related to what you saw? Or do you feel like that
Um,
might be
I
another different scenario?
it was like you telling me it went instantly to the dream. I guess we were both having the same dream, but different locations.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. So the alien, do you get to have a good look at what they look like?
No, not at all. Not at all, not one bit. I just felt like, I'm very sensitive to energy, so when I saw the light, it was like giggles and laughter, like they, like, do some humor. They really like humor. That's what I got.
Really? Hi,
Yeah.
Star. What's up, love? Thank you for coming. That's interesting you say that because remember when I did that UFO video when I sent you the picture of the UFO and we kind of like talked about it on my channel and whatnot. I asked my cars and I asked, well, why are the aliens here? Why are the UFOs here? Like in particular, the one that we specifically saw, and they said that they're here to basically take us off the planet Earth because we're like refugees. And
Okay, yes.
so it almost feels like in a way that these extraterrestrials are aware that it might be too late.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely understand where you're coming from.
And so I
But
find
I
that a little
definitely see that
interesting.
core. See that correlating though. You know what I mean?
Hmm. So maybe you will consider a refugee. So now that you said that, today's a dream analysis, what I didn't realize it was technically as advanced as the dream that you said. But we're going to specifically focus on and discuss the East Coast tsunami and how that correlates to the Doomsday Glacier. Then at the end of the video, we are going to talk about your dream and kind of find out what's happening. So there's going to be like a 3-part video in one. If you guys want to jump to certain parts of today's video, check in the description below in the comment section. Everything will be timestamped in the description. You can jump to your favorite part, even if this video is a little bit longer than you anticipated. Again, you have the luxury of being able to skip and be able to join certain segments of this video that I put in the description. All right, so let's begin. Let's talk about the East Coast glaciers and tsunami. No, one day I was talking to my boss, right, and I said I had an Urkel, and I was like, you know what? I see. I always felt like Long Island, in particular, is going to go underwater. Because remember, I live on Long
Hmm.
Island, and so do you.
Hmm.
And I always had this Urkel that the island's going to go underwater, and I told him as a joke. But at that
Yep.
time, I didn't realize I was psychic or had spiritual abilities or whatever. I knew I was something. Like I knew that I had abilities, but I just like when you watch TV shows, you kind of like, fantasize about, being all these mythical creatures and whatever. I always fantasized about those things because I always wanted to be someone I always knew I was never ordinary. I always knew there was more to me than just an ordinary human. And so
Yep.
I was saying these things, not realizing that these dark humor, like you said, are actual predictions that I'm making, but in a way of humor to kind of lighten the mood a
Yes,
bit.
I've noticed that automatically. Your dark humor correlates to even you channeling. That's what it is.
Hmm.
You channel a lot, even
Exactly,
with
and I
your
was
dark humor.
That's
Mhm.
right. That's the word that I needed. Was
And
channel. I
that
accidentally channeled at the time that I said that there was going to be a tsunami that crashes into the East Coast, and that happened. And so what I ended up seeing that there were two scenarios for this to occur. It would either be because of a meteorite or
Yep.
asteroid, or another outcome would be a mudslide or an avalanche from the snow glacier crashing into the ocean at such a high rate that it causes velocity to be built up and pent up and spread and worldwide and become tsunamis. Just based
Oh,
on the
wow.
velocity and the strength of the glaciers hitting the water. And what's really funny though is my guys specifically told me they actually gave me a plan out of what I need to do and tell me when I need to do it by. And the closer and closer I kind of push it, like I have the opportunity to push it. But after a while, they'll start telling me that I need to start doing it by putting so many things and actually will force me to do the video.
Okay.
Like today, I was just not going to do the video, but I've been wanting to do this video for about a month, a year and a half now. But my guy told me that the people who follow my channel need to know because it's helped them with the ascension process. So really, if I don't do videos like this, I'm actually hurting the people who really needs to extend it, but they're not extending if I don't do the video, which is why we're speeding up on the channel. This video is not meant to fearmonger anybody, it's just meant to bring us a light and awareness to you. So let's
Yep.
kind of go into and more in depth why in particular what this really means for all of us. Now guys, I am using the phone and so is Katie here. So we will not be able to see the floor, so you're gonna have to trust me when I get the cars. Unfortunately we've been having a lot of troubleshooting. Do you want to talk while I go get the cars?
No, I'm good. I'm definitely okay. Actually
Okay.
excited doing this. I'm really excited to do this podcast or live with you, Chris. This is something that we really wanted to do, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, the intro of our journey.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And After this guide, if you want to know, we will be covering probably in the next slide that follows after this. There's no trouble with internet. We're going to be talking about why people go missing in nature reserves. And she's going to try to bring information out of me because a lot of it is already internal. I just need somebody to drag it out of me.
Yep,
The
and
same
that's
way is
what I'm
similar
here for.
to, right,
Mm-hmm.
the same way with the channeling. Okay, so, all right, so one of the reasons that we have is tsunami is grounding.
Grounding. Okay.
But look at the top here. Look at the grid. And look at the tree here. What this is telling me that this tsunami is going to be caused by a change in our environment. It's going to be a change in our energetic polar system. So potentially this could be relating to the polar flips, where basically the north becomes the south and the south becomes the north. What is that
Yep.
called?
That's like the poles changing. That's what people say. That's what people say the global warming
Mm-hmm.
is, that the poles are changing.
The polar change, exactly. Thank you for
Yep,
that.
there you
Because
go.
what I'm seeing here that causes climate change, and it changes the geometric field. And funny enough, now that we mentioned, I asked my guys, what does God mean? And I was going to cover this on another video, but I never actually got to it. But they said
Mm-hmm.
that God doesn't necessarily mean the way that people think it means. It means geomagnetic opening dimensional portal.
Yeah.
No, not portal, field. So God,
Mm-hmm.
in the end, means geomagnetic opening dimensional field. It talks about the field around Earth and the global atmosphere in terms of energy. God is energy. So really what we're creating energy. So when you put energy towards something, it's going to manifest. But however, what I do feel like at the same time though, that this eco tsunami is coming closer and closer to the possibility of it occurring. I don't feel like, and I hate to say this in a way, but I don't feel that there's a possibility where it won't occur. And I think, I was asking my guys right before we did this live today,
Mm-hmm.
in particular, I asked, why is this going to happen to us? Why are we going to have and experience this eco tsunami? Hi, Paula, what's up, love? And one of what they told me, they ended up telling me that the reason why we're going to experience this is not necessarily to scare people to hurt us or anything like that, but this combustion of energy allows us to advance as a civilization, but also advance evolutionary wise. So this tsunami that hits, tells us and gets us to the point where we're on the same level as where the dinosaurs were 250 million years ago. So really, in this way, if we get hit with an asteroid, it will make sense that we do it because remember, infinity, everything will always happen again, infinite, right? So we will always
Infinite.
end up
Yep.
at that same point again. So that coalescent pointing thing, we're actually at the same exact point right now where the dinosaurs met the extinction level, which technically means that we could very well be wiped out by an asteroid. And the reason why we cannot communicate with aliens or extraterrestrials in a way is because maybe they're not on the same actual level as we are. We're on the 3D, so maybe in order for you to extend, you might need to be de-extinct or extinct in order for you to extend. And it will make a lot
Yeah.
of sense for that because I talked about light years on my channel and how, it's theoretically possible that we could send out signals out to the universe, but each signal, light travels faster than sound, right? And so when you send out sound or frequencies, it takes years and years to reach that planet. By the time it reaches that planet, it could be, 150 million years, light years away. We could be very off. We could be off this planet by now. We could be dead. So really, what you're
Yes.
getting is a ghost signal. You're not getting a legitimate signal from an actual planet that's currently in existence. We could very well be extinct, but living within the ghost of light.
1000%, Chris. I feel like I've channeled this for so long, and you're 1000% correct. Um, I believe this is another evolution. This is what it is. It means another evolution onto the next chapter. I feel like Mother Nature is always going to take over, no matter what.
Mother Nature's
And
right. Absolutely. And I
Mother
agree with
Nature
you.
always wins.
Exactly. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much for your donation. I do appreciate it, love. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And, it's interesting because, we're talking about the evolutionary aspect here, and it's talking about the loving compassion that is being brought upon us, right? So in order to really receive the ground and effect, is that it's okay to, be okay with death, because, a lot of people, even religion teaches that they teach people to be afraid of death, when really death is just a transition from one period to the next. Death is an illusion that is created to make you fearful and hold yourself back so you never receive and ever advance to the next step of evolution. Really, if
Yeah.
you think about it, all those species that could have lived and died are in the next level, but we're behind because we keep putting ourselves in that state of fear and preventing ourselves from ever moving forward. And this is actually interesting that this even comes up during the time when we're talking about eco tsunamis. Potentially, this is a revelation for all of us to realize that maybe death is not so bad. Maybe it's just
Yes.
that we. You were saying,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, yes, Chris, I definitely agree. With the aspect of love, I feel like people should not run away with the fear of death. Being in fear of
Hmm.
death is only going to bring more darkness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. You cannot outrun it. You
Yes.
can try to lessen the damage, but you cannot outrun it. If you were to,
Hmm.
so say, for example, we have an extinction level event and an asteroid hit. Do you want to be alive after the asteroid hit? You will have no food, you will have no water. You depend entirely on the system in which it was built that thrives on the creation of other people's hard labor for low wages. So if you don't know how to extract water from the ground, how are you going to be able to get fresh water? You can't just go down to the ocean and drink it.
Right? Imagine.
So regardless of what you do, you're gonna outrun it. That's why you gotta live your best life. And sometimes
Yes.
maybe the tsunami might be
Yes.
metaphorical speaking as well. Maybe the tsunami that we see might not be physical, but maybe it might just be that this revelation, this big wave of realization that comes crashing towards these coasts and allows us to awaken. Potentially that, when I see in the on the Pacific coast, I saw the combustion of earthquakes causing a lot of energy that's been pent up inside of Earth being released into our atmosphere, and when there's a lot of energy being released, we all extend. Even if it hurts a few people, in a way, those people already extended because they were meant to be at the right time, at the right place. Even though it was very hard for them and the people who were affected by it, in a way that allows them to get to the next step, to the next
Yeah.
level. And so that's really interesting because we have the reflection here. And the reflection card comes up reverse. Remember how I talked about the infinity sign and how we're back at the same time in the
With the
astrology chart
dinosaurs.
in the orbit, the same what?
The same part with the dinosaurs?
We got the same part in the same time period in the same area at the orbit in around Earth around 250 million years. We 360 again. We did 180 back in the same location. We have this reflection. It's telling you that on the other side, there is a world identical to ours, which means that technically when you die, you don't even know you're dead. You don't even know you're dead because you still think you're living. It is theoretically possible that all of us could be dead already and not even know it.
Yeah.
So how do you tell the difference between energetic compounds that distribute and allows you to see physical things? So for example, if you guys have not watched my grandmother grandson paradox video, I highly recommend you do this. It will give you more deeper understanding about what we're talking about right now. So for example, this is a solid object, right? Solid, I
Yes.
can lick it, I can touch it, I can hold it. This is a crystal, this is stellanite, this is the purest energy that anyone can get. Well, in order for you to have this solid object, you need to have energy vibrating at the same rate to create a shape, right? So in a way, when the sphere is created, you are vibrating at a higher level, what's become liquefied. So if you vibrate it, you take oil, right? Oil is a very solid base. When you put it at a higher rate, it becomes liquefied and it becomes hot. But when you put it
Hmm.
at a colder rate, it becomes solidified. So really the same thing is that we're more solid. Whereas as you start to extend and start to move on to the next step of evolution, you start to become more liquefied. You start to heat up internally. And when you start to heat up internally, it allows you to kind of like detach and detach from your physical body and become more spiritual. And as you start to become more spiritual, you'll be able to astral project more because you're able to lift up your vibration and vibrate at such a high rate that you have the ability to leave your body whenever you want. We're already doing it
Mhm.
today, but as we start to get warmer weather and start to get hotter at a global scale, we're going to have this ability to become a lot more frequent.
Yep.
So the next card that I got here, waterfall, effortless, right? It's going to be an effort. It's going to be an effort on behalf of what is happening. This is kind of interesting though, because I don't know why it comes up, like, why everything in particular for today's video talks about the tsunami. Maybe this tsunami might not be a physical tsunami, but it might be a spiritual one. Maybe this tsunami, it might be, a dream that we had in our past lives, and we could be dead already, like we just said. And it's theoretically possible that it's not going to happen in our timeline, but had already happened, and we're just living past that point. And we're remembering what had happened to us and where we were in a time of stress. It's possible that we
Yeah,
could be
like past
ghosts.
life dreams. I sensed it, but I feel like it was more of a current type of dream. So
That's
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 when
what
I
I feel.
knew.
I feel like it's more
Mhm.
current. I agree with you. I feel like it's more current, but I also feel like in some way it's not current. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's both. Maybe it already happened, but it's just repeating and stuff. Like, let me explain. Maybe let me know if you resonate with that. Okay, we're gonna talk light years. Are you familiar with light years?
I'm familiar.
Okay. All right. For anybody else who's not familiar with light years or you're brand new to the channel, I am going to describe light years in 5 seconds. I don't know what's going on. I apologize. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, I'm
Perfect.
gonna put myself bigger so people can see me. Hold on. How do I do this? Layout. Uh, okay. I'm gonna cut you off temporarily. Okay, so this guys is how you understand um light years. All right, so this black circle that I'm gonna draw on my screen right now, I'm gonna try to right here with the E is Earth. Right? Can you see that clear?
Yeah, that's clear. That's clear.
Okay, perfect. This is the sun. The red is the sun. Can you see the sun here?
Yes.
Okay, so when light is being reflected, when light is coming off and being emitted from the sun and it travels to the Earth's ozone layer, it goes through the Earth's ozone layer, and then when anything that's solid, it bounces off of. That's how solid created through the solidification of our own minds. So we're basically seeing things, but at a delayed rate. So really, we're seeing solid things just based on energy and light alone. So when light is traveled to Earth, it is reflected and goes back into Earth, which in turn, in this world, in the universe, in excuse me, in the end, is an infinity sign, right? And in this end, we're going to be meeting at the same ending point, that same point right here, the bow tie, in the so to speak, right? And so, the universe is infinite. So as the light traveled, each year it's continuing. So really, if you were to travel 65 million light years away, you'll see dinosaurs on Earth. But really, if you go 65 million years forward, back towards Earth, you are going to see humans. But in reality, we're just seeing the ghost of dinosaurs. The same way that we could very well be the ghost of humans. We could be the ghost of a past civilization that once inhabited Earth, which would explain why me and you would feel and why that, it's happening because it already happened, which is why intuition is defined by this ability that we already lived every possible scenario because it had already happened. So when we are living our best life, each light year that you go out from Earth, you are reliving through reincarnation, but really reincarnation again, that comes back to the theory that light years is what creates reincarnation, where you just keep living things over and over and over again in a continuous pattern. But luckily, within those continuous patterns, you're just reliving and you're able to do different scenarios and different outcomes, which is why, you could be 100 million light years away from Earth from when you died, and you could have lived every possible scenario, made every different choice that formulates and come to your intuition, which is why when you were actually alive, you're able to make decisions as if you already done it before. This is how you had that gut feeling. Does that make sense?
Yes, Chris. I definitely understand. Even dreams. So I've noticed like I've had multiple past lives dreams. So I could definitely understand everything. You broke it down perfect for me.
Perfect. So now using that theory here, how does that apply to, what you see? Do you think that, using what I said here, do you think that it already happened and that we're just reliving it through light years, or you think it's gonna happen and then we just kind of live the scenario out every light year away?
I'm thinking the spiritually aspect. I think it's more of a spiritual evolution impact, more of for this generation, I
Right.
believe. It was a sign for that.
Okay. Right, I agree with you. I agree with you. I know a lot of you guys were hoping for more of a physical, like, answer. I will do another video on this, but we're going to change the name from, East Coast Tsunami and Glacier. We're going to change the name to Katie's Dream. I want to talk about that instead, which is basically what we're talking about today. And then we'll focus more energetically on actual tsunami. I think that it's going to be an actual tsunami. What do you think?
I think it's more of a spiritual tsunami.
You
But
think
I
so? Let
wouldn't
me
be
ask the
surprised.
cards.
I would not be surprised. If you were to tell me, Katie, there's a tsunami, I already knew. I knew.
Right. Right.
That's
Maybe
how
maybe it's
intense it is.
theoretically.
That's how
Sorry.
intense it is on Long Island. So living on Long Island really does show you like climate change. I feel like that because we
Hmm.
have 4 seasons. So noticing the less snow, um, how the sun is radiating on you. You notice the pressure that the sun has now. I've noticed a huge difference with like nature before and then now.
Right. I agree with you 100%. Like, we went to Sacramento, what, yesterday or something? We went to the beach. I mean, I just felt like the beach looked so weird. Like the water was higher than normal. And it wasn't even a full moon, was it?
No, nope.
No. And it's just, imagine how much higher it would be with during a full moon.
Oh my gosh. That would
And so
be
it's
like
basically Long Island is
crazy.
technically receding. Huh?
That would be crazy.
It is, right? So let's ask the cards here. Is it a spiritual tsunami or is it a physical? It's theoretically possible it could be both, like you said. Because, how I said it's a spiritual one, but it's possible that this can manifest if we refuse to acknowledge it and it becomes a physical one.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
theoretically possible.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if we don't acknowledge it now, we don't bring awareness and light, which could explain why my guys told me we had to do this video because I've been wanting to do this video for a year and a half. And, every time I tried not to do the video, they force it upon my hand.
Yep. So they forced you to do it to bring more awareness.
Yeah,
And I'm kind of glad. I'm
exactly.
so blessed to do this because I've been having dreams about this.
Have you had any recent ones?
The recent one was the one with the city, and before it was a tsunami, um, for some reason from the North Shore, like Port Jeff area.
North Shore, as in like North Shore, the town in Long Island, or
Like no, like the North Shore and then Port Jeff, like me seeing Port Jeff and then like a tsunami hitting it. Like I had it twice.
so it's coming from the glacier. That's where it's coming from.
Hmm.
Because okay, so think about it. We live on northern Long Island, right? So northern Long Island is covered by a bay. So it is the Long Island Sound, which technically means that it's calm water. So the only way for a
Okay.
tsunami to hit, we have to go from the glacier, which will be Greenland, smash it into the ocean and coming physically warping towards, Quebec, Newfoundland, and all the way down towards the East Coast. So we're definitely in a way we'll hit the Rust Belt states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, Minnesota, all those. It will hit those states and it will come crashing down into the Gulf Coast. So really, it's the eco
Mm.
tsunami. So really, anything very close to Texas, straight upward and east of it, going to be affected, even including Mexico, Cuba, um, Puerto Rico, the West Indies. You even have the Costa Rica. What else? Nicaragua. You even have Colombia, Venezuela. You even have Europe having getting hit with a tsunami. So this thing is going
You
to be
think
pretty
it's
massive.
you think it's strictly tsunamis, or do you believe it's like
No,
more of the
it's not strictly
spiritual?
tsunamis.
Ooh, okay. So like hurricanes and earthquakes, or what do you think? What is the number one thing that you would think that would happen in that area?
Meteorite.
Oh, oh wow.
One of the things that I got a while back was that a meteorite was going to hit into the ocean and it was going to cause a seismic catalytic nightmare. If you go into the Atlantic Ocean, there is two revolving around circle that revolves around the water. So it goes in a circle with an empty hole in the middle of Earth. And there's two of them in the Atlantic Ocean, but they go in opposite direction. So what I saw is right in between those two are going to be a meteorite that's going to hit and shake those two things up. What causes really big problems, though, that big circle in the north that goes counterclockwise, right, clockwise, it's going to bring that water and energy towards Europe, whereas that counterclockwise below it is going to bring all the water towards Costa Rica and upward. So it's kind of like shooting fireballs, if you know what I mean, but with
Okay.
water.
Okay, I get it.
But I don't necessarily see it as that one's not physical. It's spiritual. Like it almost like they're trying to you get some like Oprah where she's like in the show like you get one,
Oh,
everybody gets one. You
with
know what I mean? You know what I
hurricanes
mean?
and tsunamis, everybody
Well,
gets a
no,
hurricane.
no, no, no. No, I'm not talking about like a hurricane. I'm talking about more of like the spiritual energy in that aspect. But
Yes.
like when it comes to the actual legitimately like what can cause it will be a meteorite, which I have seen, but I also have seen as well it could be a volcanic eruption in the Atlantic Ocean. It could also be as very well as a Doomsday Glacier that come crashing down into the ocean and cause a cataclysmic. Because when I asked my guys, they kind of like told me to do videos on and told me to do it in specific order. So for example, I covered the Titanic, right? And after Titanic, and I asked, back then they had like this book called The Titan, which was the original name before the book came out. The book came out about 12 or 14 years later after the book was published. And it talks about a boat named the Titan who got crashed into the iceberg and sunk, but never finished his first voyage. So what I ended up asking was there was a movie that came out called The Titanic 2 that came out in 2010, and it talked about a billionaire who was so had a fantasy about the Titanic and rebuilt it from the ground up and made it almost identical, but with brand new technology. And what ended up happening in that movie is that the tsunami, a massive tsunami, was caused by an iceberg crashing into the ocean due to climate change. Came hurling at the Titanic during its first voyage from London all the way to New York City. What I ended up seeing was that the boat broke in half. So what ended up happening is when I read on that, it specifically told me it's going to happen almost identical to the movie when this boat takes place. So it's theoretically possible that this tsunami could very well happen because actually, believe it or not, they just came out with scientific evidence that just proved my theory alone that actually now there is a thing called the Doomsday Glacier. With the Doomsday Glacier is set to crash into the ocean any moment. And with that moment, it can cause massive tsunami just with that glacier because it's a large amount of water. And when that water crashes, it's going to create a lot of energy. And when that energy creates it hits the water. It's kind of like think of it this way: you do a cannonball. You're overweight, right? Let's say you're 800 pounds, and you're jumping on that diving board, right? You shoot up into the sky, and then you come crashing down. All that weight that's on a person's body, plus the velocity in which they're going at in that same speed, is going to come crashing down. And what's the first thing you think of? There's not going to be any water in the pool.
Yes.
The same thing with that, but imagine an iceberg triple or 10 times bigger or even 100 times bigger than that person I just mentioned. So it is possible it can happen because the tarot cards did say that it was going to happen to the Titanic when it sets sail again. The storyline almost identically matches from the movie to actual our reality, where there was a billionaire in Australia who created the Titanic from the ground up and is setting it to sail this year.
Wow.
But I
Okay,
did see in the
so
cards that the excuse me, I did see that the boat was not going to set sail this year, though. We're going to set sail around the next election season, which is going to be around 2024, 2023, even 2025. So within that 3-year time range.
Okay, so time to prepare ourselves and leave the island
Excuse me?
because it's time to prepare ourselves and leave the island because I see everything that you're telling me. Like it feels like I dreamt of everything you told me. Like I felt like a glacier was gonna hit, and that was the reason why we're gonna go underwater. Like it's like putting a bucket of ice in a cup. You know what I mean? And then all the water disappears.
Like you drop it and then the water comes
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
And then when it melts, anything that's flooded, like New York City that had non-porous sheets, are going to stay flooded because those areas cannot drain the water out. I mean, look at what just happened not even too long ago in New York City with the hurricane. The
Yeah.
water wasn't going down. It was
And the
flooding New York
highways
City.
too.
Imagine now 10 times bigger.
Yeah, the highways were like flooded to like the top of the walls.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I did get the cards here, and I asked the cards, is there going to be a physical tsunami? And we have the radiant card here, which is summer solstice. So if anything of it was to occur or happen around springtime, more so than anything else, springtime, it could also be, again, the blaring sun. It could be due to climate change, the radiance. It might not be so bright.
Yeah.
What it could be a little meaning that maybe it'll block out the sun and you can't see it. That could be
You
very
think?
big. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It could also be the internet as well. That could be why we can't see it. We don't know. We don't know it's coming because I felt like there's going to be a delay of some sort, and we're not going to know it's coming.
It's gonna be a delayed reaction. That's what it means.
The delay reaction, and it also might be related to solar flares because solar flares can very well cause this as well. Because the solar flares, you know what they are?
No.
Okay, so you know like how a volcano, you know how they have that combustion of like amber that kind of flies off like hot lava, that kind
Yeah.
of like when it's hot it bounces. The same thing as a combustion of solar storms, and it's just like weather that we have here. It's the same thing on the sun. However, that sun and combustion breaks through the sun's ozone layer and comes hurling towards Earth, and with that energy brings forth um, energy that changes our electromagnetic field and electrically charged it and brings more weather, which means that we can be entering into a time period and a scenario where climate change is being affected by solar storm particularly. So this could be, the solar storm as well. We could be entering into one of the worst time periods the Earth had ever experienced, and that makes sense because we have sped up our process so fast in terms of climate change that something that would take about 1,000 years would happen under 100 years, whereas 10,000 years will happen under 10 years. You know what I mean? Like we sped up the process of climate change so fast and so rapidly that animals today are dying at such a high rate that we
Mhm.
could very well put ourselves on the chopping block because there's no food left.
Yes. And what are your thoughts of the Chinese, like the new Chinese sun? Like, I think China's making a fake sun. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I heard they shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna affect us in the long run?
Yes, it's going to affect us in the long run. It's going to make Earth and it's going to speed up climate change 10 times faster than where we already are right now. So the way that they're making the sun is going to heat up. And just say you have the sun 24 hours and you had that throughout entire,
Yes.
Earth. Think about it. You're going to become Mars. You're not going to become Earth. You're going to look like more like Mars than you are like Earth. So no, I
Yes.
don't think, China should be doing what they're doing, making an artificial sun. They should not be doing that because someone came out of a picture in Japan a few years ago in 2015, and they posted like, "Oh, look at the sunset." There's somebody else. They sent it to their friend who happened to live in Florida on the East Coast, and she sent her a picture of the sunset in Florida happening at the same time. You have to really ask yourself: is that the artificial sun, or is it that we're closer together in the Earth than we really think? And we're just told that we're further apart just based on how manipulated the map were. You can't sometimes think Japan is on the other side when in reality Japan is very close to us. It's just on the Pacific side.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so they should definitely stop doing that sun project that they have going on. Do you think it's
They're
going to
not
be
going to listen to
successful?
us.
It's not going to be
The sun?
successful.
Oh yeah,
Is it?
absolutely. Yeah, I see that in my third eye already. They're gonna do it, and it's gonna be due to it's gonna cause a problem. And one of those problems is somebody's gonna get a hold of the technology, and it's going to start creating an illusion. So really, what we're bringing into our reality now, we're bringing in the metaverse. So if you're not familiar with the metaverse, it's almost like a game simulation where you can't tell the difference between real and reality, which means that we're going to start to have people start questioning their own sense of self. We're going to have people start questioning their own sense of reality. Should I even be working? Well, if they can create a sun into the sky, who to say that they can create a god?
Yep.
I made people think that that is real, even though it might not be real God. It might just be the image that we're told to believe. You know what I mean? They could even create, aliens out of that.
Mm-hmm. They really can, and I think that's like another spiritual evolution as well. So I see a lot of awakening signs coming for 2022.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's interesting though because this is not what I expected at all for the Eco Tsunami video. We're gonna cover, if you're watching now, we're going to cover it more specifically focused on natural disasters, but it happened to be that her dream come to life through today's video, so don't be too worried. Again, this is just to bring a sense of awareness and to prevent this thing from occurring. That's all. We're not here to fearmonger you.
Okay.
I think it's actually enlightening and also very welcoming that we should welcome this. It's gonna happen regardless. It's just we should be opening our arms to just welcoming the change because we welcome change. It's going to be more likely that this tsunami does not happen on a physical level because there's no reason for it to manifest. But if we constantly tell ourselves it's not going to happen, it's theoretically possible that this thing could actually manifest because we refuse to acknowledge its existence. Very
Yep.
similar to the way, like, you ever have like the spirit guides and they tell you, oh, you're not supposed to be with this individual, but you kind of ignore your spirit guide and you just go be with that person. Your spirit guide is going to do whatever in its power to try to get you not to be with that person because it's not within your own best interest. Very similar to that. Like if you don't see and you ignore every sign, everything that spirit is telling you, it's theoretically possible that this could be a manifestation. I asked my guide a long time ago, I asked, why does evil exist? And I said, simply gave me the perfect answer. They said it's the manifestation of our own creation. It basically means that we create our own evil. But really, evil does not exist. It's our own interpretation of what we think evil is. That's really what it is. Evil does not exist theoretically, which means, demons that, these religions speak of are just not real demons. They're just angels. But really, angels are just neutral. They're both demons and they're also angels at the same time.
Yep.
This is
It's all a
actually quite interesting. It's a
manifestation.
little bit different than what I expected. It's more like a spiritual video that we're doing today. We're talking about more of the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual aspect of the tsunami.
That's what all I'm about. I love that.
Right, me too. Me too. Is there anything else that you would like to say? Quickly before we do begin with what you're gonna say, guys. Me and Katie, we're going to go live in about like 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes, we're going to talk about the nature reserves. We are going to actually focus on the nature reserve that I promise you. So you can bet that we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the spiritual aspect, why people go missing. We're going to explain it in a theoretical way that will make more sense to you and hopefully will understand. This is just the spiritual aspect about her dream, about the tsunami. That's all. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go. Katie, what would you like to say?
There's nothing I would like to say. I'm just excited to do the nature reserve one because since a little girl, I've always had like little conspiracy theories, especially on Long Island. We have a lot of nature
About
reserves
what?
over here. Just the nature reserves.
Oh, yeah, the nature reserve. We're going to talk about globally why people go
Okay.
missing now. You know what I mean? But we
Okay.
can't focus specifically on Long Island, but I kind of want to make it more global, just so everybody else feels more included. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
I think Long Island would be more of a specific question. We'll have to actually dedicate a video separately to the Long Island one, but I think that would be interesting because we can physically go there. So why would we
Okay.
talk about it when we can physically go there? You know
No,
what I mean?
you're right.
So we can go. Keep the question for those. But me and
Mhm.
you, if we're gonna do it, we should do it while we're right there in that location. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So will you be interested in doing something like that?
Yeah, I'm down. Whatever
We could
whatever
be
you
like,
want to
hey
do.
guys, we're in the Nature Reserve right now. We're not missing. And then
We're
we
gonna do
posted
a
and then
whole
realized it never been
vlog,
posted.
right? A whole
Huh?
vlog. A whole vlog.
A whole vlog. Yeah, we can do like a vlog about it. You know, we can even take people to the psych center and kind of like tell the stories of the people who once lived there by having them come to us and we'll just relay what the messages are.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming. Let me know what you guys think of Katie in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Everything will be timestamped in the description. Again, this video is just an interpretation of Katie's dream today. I hope you found it inspirational. I hope it brings some sense of hope and happiness to you. Again, a tsunami might not become a physical thing, but might just be a spiritual thing that might manifest physically if we choose to ignore it. Again, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. If you are hoping to come live with us, we will be live in about 15 minutes. I love you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.